Hello, greetings. This is me again to correct myself. Not that I agree with whatever, that's my personal thing about Islam and the Quran, the way it is put. So, there are ex-Muslims. I don't want to get them hurt or be a part of that or kill them. I believe that truth, or even if we say something, we critically, look at Prophet Muhammad and his life and the other side. That's what I wanted to do. And even look at critically at Imam Hussein's sacrifice in Karbala. Look at the Yazid side, all sides covering, right? So this is what I wanted to do, even if it is against me. Look at the other side, but not publish it, maybe just reflect within myself and just discuss it with very few people to find the truth, see if they can give me an answer to this, like Quran experts and all. And so the solution for this is to find, I don't know what the solution is, and I could be saying some wrong things and all this. So I will be correcting myself. I'm under some pressure, and like I was thinking of Jiddu Krishnamurti, how he said that to communicate the truth, how to communicate it, and like all that, right? So what is truth, how to communicate the truth, all this, how. So I'm still contemplating on that. And so now I can, in conclusion to this ayat, Surah Nur, maybe not, but I don't understand like the Quran, the way it is put. Yes, I'm publishing this and sharing, because I've shared against it many things like I could understand. So I was reflecting again on the Quran ayats, thinking prostitution should be banned in Islam, and because it says keep chaste, and even if what your right hands possess, you have to marry them, and they have to be Muslims. They have to embrace your religion in order to have a marriage with them, temporary, what the Shia say. So I'm a former Shia. And then if I may give my personal opinion here, add something, that I don't believe in this. These religions are also, I feel, like a test. Since I fail to understand so many ayats, I fail to understand the Shia also, my Shia commentaries, explanations, and all. And I just believe in, I think something that can be shown in you, like that one God, that is right. So I don't even believe in the Hindu side. Like if rishis found some mantra and all that, but they're peaceful people and we should not disturb them or anything. Let them be. Let each one go to their God and find his or her God according to their own way. So God is the unity force. God is the unity force, and all Hindus, Muslims, they all say, Christians have also told me, we have one God. So let that be your unity force if you are religious, and not the messengers and one type of religion which says they distort it. That's what I'm just giving my opinion for now. The solution to all these religions, different, and Muslims say our Rasulullah completed, Allah sent Rasulullah to complete this religion. Well, There are still many problems in this religion because the communication to the Sunnis is different interpretation and communication and sources than the Shias. So, you see all this conflict. I cannot get into this conflict anymore. But no, really, I tried to get into the conflict to solve it, but I don't even know about myself. Listening, reading to Jiddu Krishnamurti that we are in conflict, we are ugly people. And do we see it that we are violent people? We are violent. I couldn't see it, and I didn't want to see it, and it became very ugly feeling. I wanted to throw up and all that. So there's restraint. Anyways, whatever there is, you see, I can't see what is, what I am really, in fact, actuality. So how can I see a religion and then go through the life of the messenger, find out the context in which this verse was written, and all that. Alone, Quran, I cannot take it. I have to go to the life of the Prophet Muhammad, how he prayed. That is his sunnah. I have to go through the sunnah, the hadiths. So, and I'm a Shia. Oh, sorry, a former Shia. So I have to go through the Ahlul Bayt. They tell us how Rasulullah prayed and how it is we all should pray 5 times obligatory. It's not given in the Quran. The wudu is given, the ablution is given, but not like how to do the ablution. But how to pray is not given in the Quran. So we have to look outside of the Quran. And so I really couldn't understand the Quran. So many other verses. There are some good, great verses that I say are great, but they're all scattered. And what is good, khairal, or for example, or Hassan. Hassan is good, Hassan, and Hussein is beauty of the lady. So I haven't even checked here. Surah Ahzab, Ayat 52, but I'm just saying these words. For example, I cannot say what is muhsinin. Some translations have put good for khairul, muhsinin, salihin, so righteous, pious people. It's very, very confusing for me. So now I think whether I agree or not, the Quran ayat, I think prostitution as a whole, overall looking at the Quran ayats, except for this one, where God doesn't mention that prostitution is. God mentions compelled prostitution, which was practiced before the law came that you should not compel your maidservants or slave girls into prostitution, and thus God is forgiving. If they have been compelled, then I still don't understand. So the thing is that, no, I don't understand actually. So this verse, God should have, he did write in other verses and earlier on in this verse to keep chaste. This is for the slave girls to keep chaste. So, what your right hands possess, so we shall say temporary marriage with them. Right? So, the thing is that he wanted to, I know God wanted to curb what do you call it, through these ayats, I'm told, and stop, curb slavery, abolish it, and all this indecency, because in Surah Araf verse it is written that indecency hidden or apparent is haram. and keep chaste, like get married. So until, keep chaste until God or you have the means to get married. So keeping chaste is very important. All this, I understand. And that prostitution is haram in Islam. But because of this ayat part in Surah Nur, ayat 33, I got confused. And then also there's an ayat in Surah Nisa, like don't inherit women against their own will, so, and the lewdness of homosexuality, or something like that. No. You see, homosexuality is not allowed in Islam. So God sent his wrath. God told first, like very understanding, very counseling them, the homosexuals who were going after men. Surah Araf ayat, I can't remember the number. And Surah Ankabut ayat. And other ayats about Lut and his people. His people, men who were homosexuals. So that the lewdness and raping and sexually assaulting is not allowed in Islam. So how can prostitution be allowed in Islam? This way, if we take it, then we say prostitution is banned in Islam. Right? And anything that leads to any kind of indecency is haram, and the hijab is mandatory. I agree with all that. It's the command of Allah in the Quran on the khamar thing, how to, the command, it's how it's written. So, and Shia side taking the example of prophets, wives and daughters, and believing women should also follow suit. And the ayat is there, keep chaste and cover yourselves and all. And from where to where you should. So all this, regarding all this, like the mandatory hijab, nothing should avoid things that lead to satanic things, indecency is haram, Surah Haram. Keep chaste, Surah Nisa or ayats, and they tell us some Surah Nisa ayats about this. In marriage with na-mahram, like in marriage. So keep chaste until Allah decides for you. Like that, if I take all this, then of course prostitution would be haram in Islam. So this ayat part just made it worse. Surah Nur ayat 33 for me, I could understand. Maybe I have a lack of understanding or something. But then if I have a lack of understanding, then God should come to the crippled, retarded, and God forgives those who are insane and have a lack of intelligence or comprehension. Hopefully, that's what we were told in Islam. God can only punish you according to the mind, capacity of your mind, how old you are and all this, and how intelligent you are. So I could not, parts of the book, his book, I could not understand his revelations. I contemplated, I pleaded with him, but since I felt that since he mentions here forced, so you see, if you just read this ayat, then it is problematic in the sense that prostitution, which should be haram in Islam, and unanimously the religious scholars agree that prostitution is banned in Islam. And Shias take their imams also, the hadith says, since You know how to say the salat, the 5 obligatory prayers is not given in the Quran. Then we go to the Imam. So the Imam can explain it like this, like in everywhere it's written. About this chaste, keeping chaste, not having sex out of wedlock. Then how can prostitution be halal in Islam? That I agree to. But this part of the ayat, Surah Nur, ayat 33, is talking about, it has brought a question out that the Quran is, like, how shall I say this? I don't know. I'm really scared. So, Surah Nur, again I'm going to, let's see if I can say it even properly, explain myself. You see, prostitution, according to the other verses, should be haram. But this verse, it doesn't say prostitution is. It says do not compel. It does not say do not prostitute. That's what I got really. So I haven't drawn a conclusion, but I got very, like, what? Because prostitution should be haram and there should be a punishment. Because since this was being practiced, God knows that it would, some person out there could do this. So compelling the prostitutes into prostitution. Oh, sorry, I said wrong. Sorry. Again, I said it wrong. Compelling the slave girls. Sorry. Not compelling the prostitutes. Compelling the slave girls into prostitution when their will, wish, desire is not. So, this is about, so God, what was I saying? God should have also put a punishment, a separate punishment, mentioned it there, or in the next verse, but he doesn't. He leaves that out. And what our imams say about this? Like how many lashes, flogging, then we take it from our imams. But I, reading the Quran and the way I was long time ago, like this Muslim ex-friend was telling me that you Shias, like indirectly, we are wrong and we have been distorting the Quran ayats. Or we do the unforgivable sin, polytheism. So, I just was reading this Quran ayat, and I wasn't looking at the Imam's hadiths. See? Then the Imams can explain it from there. And I wasn't willing to now, even now, because in Surah Azab ayat, another thing I disagree with is that you made an unintentional mistake. You made it taking his adopted son as his real son. He married then his adopted son's divorced wife, we are told. And all the explanations I saw from all sides, from especially my Shia side, didn't make sense to me. I mean, it was terrible, even worse, that he made people a witness when, he himself, we are told that this messenger is a witness to his people, for his people. So why would he make the people a witness when he took Zaid as his son, full-fledged son, like the pagan Arabs used to take? And then if you see that God says, I don't know. So these things, for example, just cut myself short, were not making sense to me. and still aren't. Surah Azab, Ayat 37. And the other ayat that he made an unintentional mistake. All that. And then in Surah Tahrim, I couldn't believe it. I thought that he told, like God had told him. I wasn't looking at the, what do you call that again? Explanation, hadith in context, reading the hadith. Oh, the ayats in my, Shia context. Hadiths from our Imams and all that, the historic fact, Islamic early Shia, and even read the Sunni ones. Sunni one has okay, whatever the reason, but here, like I thought it was divorce. Like you are allowed to divorce. Like we were told, Imam Ali told Rasulullah, why don't you divorce Aisha? She even got more angry. That's why she started to even hate. We were told, like she started to hate Imam Ali. So you see, I thought this verse was Surah Azab, no, Surah Tahrim verse, first one, that, why, O Prophet, why do you forbid yourself what Allah has allowed you to do? Seeking to please the wives. And, and forbidding yourself, like for example, I'm just explaining further, right? What Allah has allowed you. So divorce them. But this is not the thing. He took an oath. He promised his wife, oh, this is not the thing. So this also I don't understand. When I realized what the true content was, it's not about why don't you divorce your wife, but he took a promise not to do what Allah had what made it recommended him to do. He can do if he likes. It's not like obligatory namaz, fasting or all that. But even if it is, it's not obligatory. So I thought it was like, I will not divorce you ever. Since maybe they said, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Not right now. I can't talk about this. It would come out wrongly, I guess. And so I can't contemplate. Right now I can't contemplate here. So what, what was the other thing? The secret he told to one wife, in order to, test her, and she disclosed the secret. So in the previous audio, maybe I said, uploaded on YouTube, I said that, and Facebook, that, what about this thing that he disclosed a part and kept a part. So the believers are very they wouldn't ask, who told you? They would know that Allah told him, and they wouldn't doubt him if he disclosed. They wouldn't question him like you kept. What's the other part? Tell us. Do you know the other part of the secret that, I disclosed or not? Do you know what I'm saying? About that other ayat later on in Surah Tahrim. So this whole thing, the Shia say that he may have tested his one wife, and she failed in the test. So what is it showing? These ayats are showing that these two wives were wicked. They didn't believe, they didn't obey, they annoyed the Prophet, and so he was very gentle with them. He even tried to please them by saying, because it was not like you can, it's something that, nothing obligatory on you. But Allah has allowed you to do this, but it's not obligatory that you do it. So, different translations also mistakes, so I didn't let me. So the thing is, it all, like, I'm very confused. I got confused. I'm still confused. I don't understand this. How, even if it is not obligatory, Allah has allowed him. He can do it if he wants to. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. It's like that in Surah Tahrim, that it is not obligatory, but according to Shia, like he has to go to Zainab bin Josh. He cannot please his wife saying that I'm going to leave the other. I'm not going to divorce her, but if there was, making this thing up and annoying him about actually going to Zainab bin Josh's place. We were told about the honey thing. Aisha didn't like it. Hafsa didn't like it. Aisha, something like, okay, both of them didn't like it. And Aisha made this thing up to stop him from going, or discouraging him from going too much to Zainab bin Josh's place. We are told in this other ayat that 4 wives, but it is better to keep 1 wife. Yeah, the limit is 4, but it is better to keep 1 wife, because you would not be doing justice. You will not be able to do justice with your wives. So it's better to just have 1 wife. In another ayat we are told in the Quran. I can't remember the surah and I can't remember the number. So sorry, forgive me for that overlook. So then, how can Prophet Muhammad, in even so much annoyance, he cannot say that I will stop going to Zainab bin Josh's place as often, like it is her number now? How could he miss it? He would be unjust. See, in the other ayat, I'll try to look for it later, and then perhaps come again and explain to you. But this point to be pondered, point to be noted is that, and pondered over, is that seeking to please his wives, if he forbade himself, if he said no, okay, if he promised not to do something, like go to Zainab bin Josh's place on the night of, on her turn, then it would be unjust in this case too. So this, first of all, promise, making a promise to the wives. And Allah has not only allowed him, but he has to, she's his wife, the third one. According to Shia commentary and context, if you look at it, that he promised his wives not to go to Zainab bin Josh's place. That would, according to the Quran, other ayat, where the believers are told, the limit is 4 wives. You may keep 4 wives. But it is better, since you will not be able to do justice. God is also saying, since you will not be able to do, and you will not be able to do justice, better to keep 1 wife. Oh, yes. So the God-fearing will only keep one wife, right? Since God himself is saying that you will not, and you will fail to do justice. You will not be able. What does not be able to do justice mean? You will fail to do justice. It says you will not be able to do justice. So these contradict. Oh my God, what is this? Okay, there's some great ayats like, I was thinking of oneness of God and all this. Like, we did not, as rishis, go and they say your forefathers, you've got it, but they had some. Of course, they have a shred of evidence, like they did. They give you the method how to. And if you can find Durga Ma, who made Durga Ma, if she is a reality, universal feminist power, why can't we find her? We'll have to invoke her, but then why can't we in our... Oh, this is like you tell me, this magnetic force is Durga Ma. Like you tell me that pure consciousness is Shiva. And what is Parvati then? For example, Igor Kufayev has explained, or Sadhguru has explained, or someone else, or has Sadhguru, I don't know if Sadhguru has explained or not, but I was listening to Igor Kufayev. So, you see, we have to reach that, okay, Durga Ma is that magnetic force, what is Kali Ma, and how scientifically what kind of a force is Kali Ma, which I really don't know, right? So I'm just cutting myself short that I cannot, because it says in the Quran, made me really scared, like you have no knowledge of that which you are invoking. Oh, and so the Hindus say these are gods and goddesses. But there's one God, everyone, we should come to that, no doubt about that. Now, but this Quran, okay, is like this. Every time something comes up, the Surah Nur ayat is not solved that part for me. I still feel God should have put, do not compel your maids into prostitution. Since he's mentioning the prostitution there, forced prostitution, he should have put also do not. So he had to put like also do not prostitute your maidservants, even if they desire to prostitute themselves. Even if they... So both ways it would have been so completely, like since he's mentioned forced prostitution, and the way he said that they used to be compelled into, like, okay, we can say that in the past, these slave girls were compelled into prostitution. Now no more of this despicable, evil practice, unjust, against these slave girls. Since it was forced, and God adds that they wished to remain chaste. They did not wish to go into prostitution. They did not wish to go into prostitution even, let alone forced prostitution. Right? Because they wish to remain chaste. This I understand. But then God should have put. But then we take where Surah Araf verse. But you see, all that overall in the Quran, wherever it says lewdness and all these indecent acts, hidden, apparent. So prostitution would be haram in Islam. Again, we can, like, I'm going round and round in circles. Because here, Surah Nur, Ayat 33, Now the Imams can tell us that now the Imams have to tell us that prostitution is haram. And what is the punishment for this? So I still wouldn't agree. I mean, okay, but this is what it is. Like, I'll have to agree if I'm a Shia. But I feel if God had put it himself, it would have been better. Instead of, mentioning, since he mentions forced prostitution, then also, and says there's a slight opening there for, you know what I mean? Anyone, the open door, slight ajar, open door, the door is open. Chastity, but here God has said, so he could have just completely made it very, very clear. Since he mentions forced prostitution, he could have then again double. Like, there are so many times he mentions keep chaste, double mentions 3-4 times, repeats himself. Why couldn't he just mention here in Surah Nur Ayat 33 this part? Since he's mentioned forced prostitution, he should have said, you see, because forget, overall ban it. Yes, it's banned, we'll say. And thereafter the Imams have given us punishments about it and whatnot, right? That prostitution is banned. But this is about forced prostitution. So God, it wouldn't take much time for God to just mention the plain prostitution without forcing them, right? It wouldn't hurt him. And then if you say, the punishment is not mentioned here for compelled prostitution, it is because it happened before. So now the law has come now. He cannot punish those women. So for those women, he's saying that, I understand this point very good, that he is saying God is of forgiving, most merciful, and the same thing he uses for Prophet Muhammad, where in Surah Azab, where he made a mistake. He says Allah says, God is of forgiving, merciful, since you made a mistake unintentionally. In Surah Azab, I can't remember the ayat number again. I keep forgetting. So, of forgiving, merciful. So now, I really don't understand God, this way of putting of forgiving, merciful. What is Ghafoor? What the word is used, right? He made they were compelled into prostitution, so God is of forgiving, merciful to them. And it's to them, so I have to correct that this is not to those who compel them, these slave girls, into prostitution. So, anyhow, because he's mentioned forced prostitution, compelled, when these maid girls did not desire, they were compelled, could he not have put in for plain prostitution? Just, you used to, okay, it's like, do not compel your maid prostitute. Oh, your slave girl. Sorry, again I'm making this mistake. Do not compel into prostitution your slave girls when they when they wish to remain chaste, and do not prostitute your slave girls. That's all he had to add, and this would be finished. There would be no question of prostitution, plain or forced. This is command. This is his command. So better, like, I have to tell God it is better. I don't have to, but it would have been, see, again, so I could be killed by a Muslim for saying this, that I know better than this God. Who are you, right? You have no authority. You don't know anything. This Quran fulfills all scientifically. It covers everything, and so many subjects is covered about life and everything. Science, medical. He was Allah Almighty, all-knowing, who gave him everything. Medical, how the child is in the stomach, how all this, what are the stages. All right, all explained. So I can't even reach part of it. A sand of, worth thing. This Quran, like he was a physicist, he was a scientist, he was everything. Spiritually also, of course, everything. So now, this is what I used to think. Then, but much grateful to those ex-Muslims, Abdullah Gondal, trying to tell us, bring very, very brave, courageous ex-Muslims like Dr. Abdullah Gondal and Abdullah Samir, friendly ex-Muslim, apostate prophet who had come. Some things I did not agree to them, but overall, I don't know, other things maybe I did. So I was just listening for information. Maybe I will be able to. The Quran ayats, not the Sunni from the Sunni hadiths, but the Quran ayats, they explain to us, which are really unexplainable. And they have errors like this is some like the murky waters, in the murky waters, the sun, and the moon is like a dry palm stick of fiber. Okay, so I've forgotten the word by word. Now I haven't read the Quran for such a long time, especially this part of the ayat. Haven't, just going through some surahs recently. Oh, so fearful. And I don't, my opinion doesn't matter to the Muslims anyways. So I better reserve it. And yeah, and since I've published things and all this, my doubts, all, I still stand by the thing that Surah Nur Ayat 33, this part, God should have put there. There is something wrong here. Like, I'm not saying the way, the writing. I'm saying if he mentions forced prostitution, now explaining it in other words, like, it is a slow process for me because I can't explain everything properly in one go. Then I have to come back again and again. I'm saying, since he, and the rest of the chaste and all this, but he should have made it, he should have sealed it, finish. Forced prostitution, and then when he's mentioning forced prostitution, he should have mentioned, but he didn't. He thought we will get it, our imams will tell us, the hadiths will tell them, and only Quran people may have a little bit of difficulty. And I have maybe they will not have a difficulty either. So how to, okay, beginning I said, how to convey the truth and all this, that I saw that if I have any resistance, then that makes it difficult, right? I escape the ugliness of life and all this. So there should be no escape. I should be looking at it. observing without judgment, then we can reach. When we reached that, I didn't know when I was going to reach that place where, you see, thoroughly purified. A very purified person can come to you and say, look at this. I'll say, well, I can't see it. This is what the Quran also says, that how far have you people gone, and you can't see it. But it's not my arrogance, because I'm not thoroughly purified with a thorough purification. Surah Azab verse. That's what I was thinking. You see, it says in the Quran also, Quran Ayat, I think Surah Waqia, I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm wrong. Only the pure can touch this. So it may, some Shia alims, like, if you're going to tell me that this means do wudu and come here, start reading the Quran. So sorry, my ways are like this. So come here and read the Quran. No, do wudu and you're pure. No, inside to reflect. But first, yes, do wudu. I'm not saying don't do wudu. If the Quran says do wudu, do wudu. But also that inside purity should be there. If there's dirt inside, like if on the mirror there is dirt, can you see yourself? You can't see yourself. And what the pure are showing you about God and all this, they say, right? How will you know? Because your own mirror has dust, has dirt. You can't see clearly if it has dust a little bit, a lot of mud, dirt. You won't be able to see yourself at all. Thick dust. And so how to remove that, so that if suppose someone comes here and shows you this is true, oh disbelievers, like you have no proof, right? I'm giving you the proof. So how do I convey the truth to you about Allah? I'll have to take your hand, take you up to Allah, or show you a method where you can, I'm doing this, you also do it and you reach God. Oneness with God, that's it. What will I do if the mirror, let's suppose, will I show you, your mirror is full of dirt. What I can show you is bring my mirror to your house or to you and tell you, look, see yourself. My clean mirror, because I'm a pure person. My mirror is clean from the inside out. Also, so this is the way we need to show. Then, once which the Quran conveys, says that what in this thing that we send clear signs to you and clear proof to you, but you're still arrogant people and all this. What if I show you clear sign, God? It is like a scientist wanting to, let's say, tell you about quantum physics, the truth about physics, and it works. Does it work? You'll ask, can I see it first? Okay, so can you show me as it works? Yes. So there's proof this thing exists, right? And you show it to me that this exists. Look. But my eyesight right now, I need glasses for it. And even more heavy, some telescope type, Look, see, from a distance the stars look like this, but if you take a telescope, the star, and look at the stars, they look different. And then slowly show you what this God. This way it should be done. So I was pleading to God and all this. And Muji Baba later, some years later came. And I found him on YouTube, internet. So, there Muji Baba has shown us. I can say. So it is very, very great. Otherwise, I'll be meditating and going through yoga and all this. First going through the yoga so that my health, so that inside also I can take this, because if emotions, health, you're weak, your nervous system is not that strong to take this, you will not be able to sustain it. Or no, you can't sustain it. It is self-sustaining. All that, if I can, Allah. The Ayat al-Kursi, Allah. There is no God but He, the self-sustaining, the ever-living, the self-sustaining, or powerful. I've forgotten now these. So this is self-sustaining, doesn't need. Muji has shown this much, but what I need to do is, just sit on this, just be in this. And so let's see when I will receive the grace of God to be without, there's no existence. True, but this, the I am, pure awareness. And then the world will not cover it up. So the solution is, I thought, in the Quran, I was going round and round in circles. And couldn't find the proper words to convey here. Maybe somewhere I've conveyed on my live stream Facebook or in some, video again. But again, I have to say that maybe I've forgotten, but shouldn't, because to show you something and tell you that you need to purify yourself. It's a process. And then how do I believe you as a messenger of Allah, taking my religion? Because you see, then you will tell me, obey Allah and obey me. And I cannot obey you. Why should I obey you to marry someone I don't want to marry? My will is not involved. I don't like them for whatever reasons. And but you force me your Allah forces me, you force me due to, you tell me that I have to obey Allah and obey the messenger, obey you in matters. So for your law to establish something, to make it easier later on for the believers, is it real? And you can see this in Surah Ahzab. We are told this has happened. Ayat 36. Whoever was forced to marry Zainab bin Josh's name is not given, okay? But it is understandable. I can just explain the verses. It is not something which Rasulullah recommended, advised Zainab bin Josh to do. So at least thank God that the Shias agree to. When I saw read in their commentary, what was told to us was that Rasulullah had advised Zainab bin Josh to get married to Zaid. Hearsay, it was hearsay. I don't know, but in my Quran, no, because this verse also makes the verse before verse 37. Wait a minute. How can it be that if Rasulullah advised No, commanded. It was a command, order. Then that these two would not even be believers, right? They would have gone astray. Rasulullah perhaps went out of the way to save, his way to save by forgiving them, forgiving Zainab bin Josh for not being able to be a good wife to her husband. She was always quarreling, we are told, with her husband. And Zaid wouldn't even hit her. He didn't do all those things. We are told in Surah Nisa, Ayat 34 or 22, what was 34? That, first counsel your wife, then. So he didn't take that ayat he didn't practice that beating of Zainab bin Josh. She was also giving him a hard time. And he was so, so there in Surah Tahrim we are told that these wives we are told he had one or two wives. Zaid, maybe Zainab bin Josh. So one wife, and keep your wife to yourself and fear Allah. I'm just, whether I don't know, the context, I have to look at how the verse is going, because Zaid is mentioned. Now I can go and find the history, Islamic history on Zaid. Yeah, Zaid did exist in Islamic history, right? And then this could be a little more accurate too, and simple to understand. What happened? So there was Zainab bin Josh. He was actually married to, history tells us, Islamic. So since Zaid was mentioned, I would take the Islamic history and read about him. Which Zaid is this? Achha, so the Islamic history is that this is not Zaid ibn Thabit, but it is Zaid ibn Haritha or Harith, and he was married to Zainab bin Josh, and this is Prophet Muhammad came to him and said, keep your wife to yourself. So so this is the I just don't know how to explain it properly. So I could be stretching it could be boring. Sometimes I really have a laugh at myself. So funny I sound. Okay, so Zaid. So here I give myself that thing, and I can trust that I can go into a Islamic historical records to see safely say this, right? So what I saw was that here Zainab bin Josh, I don't know, we were not told that he practiced any kind of beating or anything. He just went to Rasulullah. He went to Rasulullah and he said, perhaps that Zainab bin Josh doesn't want to, still not, Allah and Rasulullah decreed a matter. When Allah and the Messenger decree a matter. So, well and good, we are happy now. Wait a minute. But later on, she became Ummul Mu'mineen, she married Prophet Muhammad. This is what her thing was. To give that believer to not be able to, because we are told in the commentary section, Shia commentary, that she was a highborn, even in the Sunni commentaries for us. She could not get along. No, in the Sunni, one hadith, I don't know if it is Sahih or what, there's another one that Rasulullah once went to Zaid's place. You can look at it, search for the hadith. And his heart turned as he saw Zainab bin Jahsh. Then the ball comes here and says, Zainab bin Jahsh was Rasulullah's cousin. If Rasulullah, like they were growing up together, and when did the parda come? Oh, ho, ho, ho. The hijab, khamar and all this, jalbab, came later, mandatory verse. After we are told by the Shia, I'm not sure, and when you now enter, you leave the Prophet, he becomes very shy and all this. Surah verse. Don't stay too long in his house now. After the wedding, that night of the wedding, the consummation, walima or something, Prophet Muhammad was having. Don't overstay because at his house now God is telling the Sahabas and the guests and those who go for consultation to him, he feels shy to tell you, oh, what a shy man. I feel so disgusted that it's now that he's married Zainab bin Jahsh, we are told by I think I was told that this is why this verse, not a hadith, this verse came out that now I said what time, what was the timing of this verse? They said to me when he got married to Zainab bin Jahsh. Now he feels shy. Okay, maybe are you not scared of the fire that you're promised and you're distorting the words and this misleading people? Sarah, better not to say a word. Better to make mistakes and God will if God is, I've beseeched him, I've pleaded him to correct me. No, I will keep sharing this. Wait. I could be innocently, unintentionally, a prophet made a mistake, unintentionally he was forgiven. And it was like, this is not even a sin, we are told in Surah Ayat 5 or 4 verse. When Prophet made such a big thing, like it changed. The whole thing changed after this, this unintentional mistake. एक गलती, एक छोटी सी गलती. This is a small mistake. I mean, I'm talking in Urdu. Devdas from Devdas new movie. So this mistake cost what? Zaid's father never had him in that age. When he came to get him, we are told by the Shia sources explaining these verses, below these verses. When Zaid's father came, Rasulullah was immediately like, since Zaid didn't go with his father and wants to stay with me, I will make, oh goodness, lost tears. Holding back the years. That song? Thinking of the holding back the tears, lost years. Who sang that? Which British or American singer was it? How can I forget? Sorry. So read this. God, I forgot it. Okay, sorry. So we come to what? Still, I have found some discrepancies in this, and they stand. Like Surah Nur Ayat 33, Surah Azab Ayats, explanations, Shia commentary, So I wouldn't take the Sunni hadith because Zainab bin Josh was his cousin. It was before the Parda. So then even the Parda came. So, no. But I wouldn't take the Sunni hadiths that his heart turned and he said, oh God, something like the turning of the heart's glory. What? This is adultery. This is haram in Islam. To have an eye even at another man's, this in the Bible, like Jesus Christ, and you could overall tell in the Quran, from the Quran verses. You cannot admire like this, that how my heart is turning, and it shows that he's what, sexually attracted to his cousin, since she's married to Zainab bin Josh. Oh, Zaid bin Harith. Since she married Zaid bin Harith, he's always seen this cousin growing up and everything. So the Sunni hadith doesn't make sense to me, because this would be like adultery. And Rasulullah is too exalted. Oh no, Allah is exalted. What do you say? Salawatullah alaik. Sallu alayhi wa alayhi. Salatu salam. So now I will take a short break. Sorry, I paused. And now I'm out of a bit energy, Need time. I need a break. So I'll continue later. Part 1. Let's see the title. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.